All right, so for this one, very simply, we're going to be doing a hip hinge movement where we've got a slight bend in the knees to start off with, and then we're just going to elevate our heels off the floor, ever so slightly. They don't have to be fully lifted up as far as we can. We just want our heels hovering up off the floor, okay? So bend in the knees, heels hovering off the floor. What I want you to do is put your fingers either side onto your hip bones at the front here, and then your thumbs on your rib cage. The aim of this movement is that as I hinge from here, I'm going to think about my hips going straight back. That means my torso will start coming forwards. But the crucial detail is this distance shouldn't change. So what we shouldn't see is that as I start pushing my hips back, my torso starts crunching forwards and I get a rounding through the spine. Or the opposite, I start pushing my hips back and actually my back starts extending and this distance widens, okay? So your aim is to keep that distance exactly the same, elevate the heels, knees bent, and now I'm gonna just push the hips back towards the wall behind me, keep this distance the same so my spine is staying still. As far as you can go, you should feel a good stretch down the hamstrings, a nice lengthening of the glutes. And now to come forwards, the key point here is that my knees are going to stay still. My hips are going to come forwards, but my knees stay bent. What we don't want to see is from this bottom position that to come forwards, my knees are extending there, okay? So what you can do to help is you can put something in front of you, like a bench, as a cue. So I'm going to get in my starting position here, elevate the heels, bend the knees. Now my knees are not going to come off this bench, okay? So as I now start pushing to the back of the room, to come back forwards now, my knees are going to stay on that bench, which means that my hips have to come forwards, okay? So if you have to use that for the first couple reps, that's fine. But ideally, because that will help you and give you some stability, I want you to get to the point where you can elevate the heels, bend the knees, hips hinging back to the back of the room. This distance isn't changing. And then once I've reached my end range, my knees stay forwards and my hips come through and we return back to the start position.